Hills of Tanchico. The hills of Tanchico. Alright. Well, now that I know what that means, that's all you're gonna get out of me. Alright. Now, Wheel of Time, Season 3, Episode 6. Now, this may be the quickest. This may be the. And I'm gonna say this, and of course, I'm gonna be like, oh, an hour later, it's not quick. Okay, but this may be the quickest video I have for a review. Couple reasons. I had to wait on recording this video, so this was upon rewatch and note-taking and things like that. Good news is, episode 7 was recorded directly after watching the episode, so we got all the excitement. We got all the excitement, all the absent-mindedness, and all of the sound effects. And this one will be more so like a recap than anything. I may even call it a recap. Who knows? So, episode 7 soon after, and this one starts out 95 years ago in Tanchico. So, we start out with this little girl, and I kind of knew immediately. I was like, okay, I know who this is. But 95 years ago, we're in, like, the dark. We hear some screaming, and then we see, like, oh, there's this kid carrying a baby in a dungeon bedroom. And we're like, oh, okay, bet. Well, not bet, but, here it is. And the baby's crying, and she's like, oh my gosh, can you shut up? But, not super nurturing, but she was like, Liandrin. And then that's his name. And he starts to fuss and stuff, as babies do on the way out, or as babies do when they get out. And a dude comes in. She's like, shh. He's looking at her. He's like, give me the child. And she's like, nah. And he's like, drown it, to the dude that comes in with him. And the dude walks up like he's about to. He's for real about it. And so she's like, no! So she screams. And then I guess this is the moment she realizes she can channel. Because when she screams, one shot, pow! Zaps him and the accomplice. She zaps the accomplice first, and then the dude's like, wait, what? He's an old dude, too. She's like a buck over 10, maybe. With a baby, a newborn baby in her hands. And he's talking about something, drown it. Alright. She screams and takes him out too, real quick. One shot, da-da. And she then walks up to him barefoot in that dungeon room with the little gate thing open. It's all a messed up situation. She curb stomps him with her bare feet. Just, yeah. Pretty vivid first few minutes of this scene. So she runs away. But everywhere she's turning, she's like, help, please, somebody help me. I need to get out of here. I need to get far away. She doesn't get into the elaboration of, like, why, but she's a baby holding a baby, screaming for help barefoot. Everybody's like, get out of the way. You're in my way. And again, I say this place is reminiscent of, what's that place in Pirates of the Caribbean? What's that place called? Tortuga, right? It's reminiscent of that. I just feel like people in Tortuga would be like, at least a little bit. At least they'll give her, like, 1 coin or something. They gave her nothing, and she saw the statue, so she went and sat in the middle of it, just her and the baby. She's all folded into the statue, not sure what to do, halfway hiding, just in despair, and cradling this baby. And a man reaches down, and he bends over, reaches down, and he's like, would you like some help, or do you need some help? And then we look at him, and it's a Samuel, man. Little did we know, he's been there since the beginning, dude. He had her since the start. I thought that maybe, like, she came around, like, a little later, or it was after her disillusionment at being at the tower and just seeing how the way things are run, and or maybe her deep disdain for men. I knew she had a past. I didn't know what that past was and how bad it was, but I was like, well, there's a reason why she's so anti-men. You're not just born like, I don't like this specific human. But I didn't know that she's basically a snake in the grass the entire time. Oh my gosh, 95 years of allegiance to the dark. That's so crazy. Oh, that's so crazy. But anyway, it's implied that she says yes, obviously. It's implied that she kind of swears her allegiance or oath or whatever to the dark in that moment. And it's implied, I don't know, it wasn't confirmed, but it was implied, to Ishii. Ishii's dead now, Ishii's unalive now, so we get to the present, and she's I believe she's in the world of dreams, or her specific dream. I can't really differentiate from that right now, just being a show only individual. I kind of go with what they give. So it seems to me like she's just in a dream. And in this specific dream, she's on the Amyrlin seat, and she's like kind of just living it up, looking around, just soaking in the power. You know when they tell you to get in your power stance and you Superman puff up your chest, or Wonder Woman, or whoever you like to be, tree nymph, I don't know, wood nymph, in the mirror, puff out your chest, and just hold that stance for 10 seconds and be like, me. You know, she's kind of in her bag in that moment. And Lanfear shows up and is like, you've been slippery as of late. Very slippery. What are you doing in Tanchico? And she's like, well, I stayed in the tower as long as I could. You know, when you answer the question that wasn't asked because you don't want to answer the question itself. She's doing that, basically. And Lanfear comes down and just disrespectfully just zaps her down off of the chair, like in the blink of an eye. Now Lanfear is sitting there in the Amyrlin seat, and Liandrin's right at her feet. Disrespectfully. And she's like, I stayed in the tower as long as I could, and I was basically sworn to Ishii, implying not you, so you know what I'm saying. And then she's like, basically just asserting her dominance, and asking, or telling, really instructing Liandrin to weed out the rat in their group of Aja, Black Aja. It's too tempting of a prize to have so many Aja sworn to the dark. Sorry, not so many Aja, so many Aes Sedai sworn to the dark, that of course some of the other Forsaken are going to try to get some of them on their side, and they are not united. So Lanfear is against what Robin and Samael and Moghedian and like, I don't know if that's all who came out, and I think the Samael's out of here for good. I'm not really sure though. But yeah, so they're not united, and they're all working against each other. So here we go with that. She says, go find them and unalive them. Get them out of here. And then Liandrin's like, yes, I'll do whatever you want. You know, she's like in fear. So she goes, and that's her job now, to find the rat. She quickly does that, actually. And we find out that the rat, again, this girl, she just ratting everybody. Actually a couple ducks in there. But her name is, she's the one who stole all the artifacts on their way out. So she already had one collar thingy, and then they're actually looking for two bracelets and a collar. So I believe she has one of the bracelets, and then they were looking for another bracelet and then a collar. But anyway, she's working behind the scenes with either Raven or Samael. One of the Forsaken are kind of like in her ear, and she's laying down sleeping. Liandrin comes in and kind of is like, I've been practicing your little memory weaves, seeing what you can do and stuff like that. Is Naomi, and she gets her to admit in a way that, oh, we found the collar. It's in the Panarch's palace. We can get it tomorrow. I have contacts. I have very deep connections. And Liandrin is gonna get me. Liandrin is like, oh, I know you have connections, but I don't really need the Black Aja's help in this. I'm not going to, I don't know. She said, I'm going to become one of them. And one of them meaning, I assume, the Forsaken. She wants to become a Forsaken. I was like, all right, I guess. So she one-shots Naomi out of here. In bed. Through the head. You know what I'm saying? So, right after she does that, Ispan comes back, who's the black chick who's also a duck. That's what I wrote in my notes. It just says black chick was a duck too. Her name is Ispan. She comes in. She's actually kind of snaking around with Raven. So they're all kind of having their own agendas within agendas. And she's like, great, what did you find? And she sneaks off, Ispan, I guess, after giving a false report. And she's like looking around in the world of dreams, waiting for her contact to show up, who we assume is Raven, who never shows up. Who instead shows up is Moghedian. Still want to play with that for some reason, but I'm going to say Moghedian this time. And Moghedian's like, who are you waiting for? You know, she got that creepy little voice, you know. I keep wanting to like her, but she's so gross. She's so gross. And I'm not a spider person. Like, I don't like spiders, and she keeps likening herself to a spider. She's gross. She's weird. I don't mind the weird, but the gross is kind of... Anyway, and I'll tell you why a little later, because you saw the episode too. But she into some stuff. I don't know. She weird. She shows up. She's like, why are you here? Like, who are you waiting for? Are you waiting for him? Are you waiting for him? He's like, oh, don't worry. She's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, don't worry. Tell me the message and I'll report it back to them. And she doesn't say anything for a second. She kind of backs up against the wall. And then Moghedian does the thing that I guess all of them can do as bad guys. Like, I was here and now I'm here. And she backs her up against this wall and kind of presses her fingers to her face. And them fingers are lethal. I don't know. Are those fingers like pincers? Like a spider would have pincers? Because whenever she gets those fingertips on people, yuck. You know, something bad is happening. She starts pressing a little bit, and the Ispan, she gets nervous, I guess, and like fearful. So she starts just yapping. She just starts telling either that, or it could have been a little compulsion. I'm not sure. Apparently, she could do that. We found that out later, too. But Ishban starts talking. She's like, hey, okay, fine. So we found the bracelet. It's at this place. Oh, I'm sorry. She didn't mention the bracelet. She says, we find there's 2 of the 5 we're hunting are in Tanchico right now. So they're actually hunting, I guess, Elaine and Nynaeve. And they think they're hunting Liandrin. So it's like, wow, like, okay. Unaware. And she says they have the bracelet and or something like that. I don't know. She just starts snitching basically, and she's like, well, we can get it soon. And Naomi has been found out, and Liandrin killed her. She's saying she wants to be a Forsaken or something like that. So the time to strike is now. And I can also... And she's like, no! She tells all the information, and right after... in the world of dreams, so I guess in real life as well, Moghedian sticks her fingers in her face until she stops screaming. Implied perishment. So, we're gonna leave Tanchico for a minute, and let's jump into the quippies and quickies over... Quippies? I don't know. Let's go to the 2 rivers real quick. Not much to report here. So it'll be like maybe 5 minutes here. Let's start with Alanna. Alana's all jacked up, you know, from providing cover and taking 5 arrows, you know, 5+ arrows in a battle until Maxim came back. And she still doesn't have anybody to heal her because she's an Aes Sedai, so she can't heal herself. And she's the only Aes Sedai there. So she's suffering in the room upstairs, and she's like, Maxim, it's time. And Maxim is crying. He's like, no, you can't leave me here. Not like, you know, you're still the only thing in this world that matters to me and stuff like that. It took me a minute to kind of get with Maxim. You know, I like him, but I don't like him. You know, he's not Lan to me. And it took me a minute with Lan too, honestly. But not as long as with Maxim. I'm like, with Maxim it's a different situation because there were 3 of them, you know. And he said he fell in love with the warder. And the warder fell in love with an Aes Sedai. So it's like, you weren't the one in love with the Aes Sedai. So it's like, it's almost like, is this a trauma bond situation? Like, are you forcing it? I wonder how she feels about that. You know what I mean? So for a little bit, that's how I felt about that. But they are really what each other has left in this world. So I can understand wanting to hold on to that last little bit. And I like him now, too. Spoiler alert. I do like him now. But it took me a minute. But anyway, he's crying about it. The 2 little girls, they come up. 2 little girls being Matt Cawston's little sisters, who we found out can channel. So as soon as they walked up, I was like, get to work. Clock in, ladies. You are 5 minutes late. They came in to say thank you for Alanna coming in to save their lives. And he's like, oh, you love being thanked. It was a weird line. It was. But he's scrambling, man. He's scrambling. He's in grief. He's like, hey, you know, get up because she's fading. She's like, oh, my gosh, bro. I'm about to get out of here. And the girls come up and they're like, why isn't she healed yet? And he's like, they can't really heal themselves. And then I guess they let it slip that they can channel. And he's like, can you guys channel? And then this kind of wakes up Alanna a little bit. She's like, huh? You said channel? Come on. Come on. Hey, girls, picture up, bud. a small little bud and all the petals, and then a stem and earth and life, and now you're the entire flower. And meditation. Basically, align your chakras together and create a healing weave, which apparently is very complex, but they're able to do it with by the power of sisters. I have the power. And healed her, and she's good to go now. And it's all a shock, and she's like, I told you so, basically, to Maxim. And then that scene ends with her being saved. Perrin is downstairs all jacked up too, because remember, he took a gut hit from Dane Bornhold last time they met and fought each other in the camp, and when they went to go get the sisters. So he's still like under some tough conditions. The wisdom of the village of the Two Rivers brought him some strong medicinal herbs, or herbs, as Faielle said. And it does make a difference. He's up and talking. They're talking by the fire. Faielle says, like we find out, Faielle comes from a military family. Her parents were generals, and her brother and herself were soldiers. Her mother dropped a bomb on her. Baby, dropped a bomb on her. Sorry, I'm very musical today. It must be the hills of Tanchico. Come on. Well, I mean, not. Anyway. Wild. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. Her mom is a dark friend. And she basically wants her to, she admitted that to her daughter, and who's Faielle, and then she says, I want you to swear the oaths too. Faielle tells her brother, who basically does the noble thing and tries to confront her, and the mom unalives the brother. Faielle runs away. I don't know what happens to the dad. She doesn't really mention the dad anymore. But she says Perrin would have liked her brother because he was honorable and noble and all that stuff, and that's what Perrin is. For the most part, yeah. Honestly, he seems like OG. And speaking of Perrin, he's also got the gift of gab. He is, as the kids say, a yapper. Is that what they say? I don't know what they're saying now. I'm old. He starts telling about his ability to communicate and understand wolves. Communicate with and understand wolves. I don't know if he gets really into the future thing, like the wolf sight, but he's definitely wolf-friended out. So he tells her about that. He's like, is it weird? She's like, yeah, this is weird. But it's cool. It's vibe. I got weird. I like weird. He says he can connect to her trauma because she feels guilty about leaving her brother to deal with the mom, and the mom unaliving the brother because she knew he would do the right thing, and she just ran. So she feels guilty about that. He unalived his wife, who, again, I don't know how many times I gotta say this. I don't feel that bad. Let me explain very quickly. I think after looking at the scene so many times, even in season 1, I saw the scene a few times because I'd watched the show a couple times, and I was like, this looks like in the scene she had reared back that axe or whatever she was holding, that weapon she was holding, while his back was turned. I was like, she was a dark friend, wasn't she? We only got like 2 seconds with the wife, but it was clearly over. Like, he had the Trolloc. He had him on the ground. He was axing at him and everything, and he turned around quickly. And then when I first saw the scene as a new viewer, I was like, like, oh my gosh, the trauma. Oh. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. But watching the scene back, even watching it with people I introduced the show to, I was like, she was about to cut up Perrin. I'm telling you, bro. Look at that scene again and pause it right before he swings at her on accident in the heat of berserk, which we don't know, but now we do. He gets her in the gut, but what position was she in? And why was she in that position right behind him? Shouldn't you go around and be like, I don't know. Anyway, he tells Faielle about accidentally unaliving his wife and how it's his fault. And then eventually he does get to telling Faielle that Matt blew the horn already. You're kind of out of luck. Like, my homie already did that. Been there, done that. You can't. It's over. And she's like, you let me just go on and on about this horn. And then they kiss. And he's like, oh, sorry, it was never the right time. And she's like, oh, that's not fair. Anyway, you saw the scene too. They kiss. That's all that happens in the Two Rivers until the end when we find out that dun 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 Trolloc army on the way. Pending. Let's go back to the Aiel waste and check in with Moiraine. Very quick with Moiraine in this episode. I didn't find too many things to note at. We're going to go right back to Tanchico after this because we got a lot going on over there. So, very quick with Moiraine. She is hiding from Lanfear. Lanfear clocks that. Lanfear is just taking this whole episode to track down all the chicks who are mad at her or scared of her and telling them face to face, hey, still be scared of me, but why are you hiding from me, basically? Like, you've been hiding from me. Why? Are you scared? What did you see in Ruidian? And she's like, girl, leave me alone. What do you want? And she said, tone, first off. Second, she doesn't know that she has the ice ball, so that's good. I'm like, keep that under wraps. You don't want her to know that. She's like, why haven't you kept Egwene away from Rand? And she's like, Egwene is hard-headed, so if I push, she's gonna pull. I don't know, and she falls right back to you. So she's not gonna leave if I push at the situation. And she's like, alright, bet. Stay out of the way then. I'll handle it. I'm sending someone your way tonight. So let him handle everything. And then she disappears. And Moiraine kind of just doesn't stop this from happening or whatever. So keep that in mind. She's sending someone tonight. She sent the Addy. And Moiraine doesn't tell Rand any of this. What she does have later on is a conversation with Rand, kind of by the thing, because we realize, like, sis cannot control that power. And it kind of drowns her when she tries. Like, she gets sucked into it, and she's like, oh, it consumes me, and there's gonna be nothing left if I let it. But it's this thing that's gonna take me with it. It's like deep diving into a cyclone. And you're like, oh my gosh, I love deep diving. And then you're like, eventually, I do need to breathe, though. So you try to force your way back up out of a cyclone. And it's not going to work. You know, it's a whirlpool cyclone in the water. Like, you probably just shouldn't have done that. Anyway, yeah, just finding your way back up. And Rand says, like, oh, hashtag same sis. He basically says, like, that's how I feel, but times a million. With this one power situation because it makes me crazy. So it's always there. What you need to do is not submit. Don't submit. Don't ever submit to it, because if it's trying to take you apart, if it's trying to whirlpool, you probably don't want to dive in. You know what I mean? He kind of zones out for a little bit, and he's like, sometimes, like, it's always there nagging at me, and sometimes I just want to, and then, like, all kind of earthquake stuff, and then Moiraine's like, hey, Rand, hey, come on, hey, come on back. And he does, and things stop rattling and shaking and stuff, and it's just like, this dude is a nuclear weapon. Get him out of here. He's a nuclear weapon with emotions. But yeah, he's giving advice, basically, and just saying, don't submit. It wouldn't be safe, and you would lose you in the process. That in mind, let's jump on, speaking of losing you in the process, it's not really a great segue, but let's do it. So, we go back to Tanchico, and I'm singing that because Elaine is dressed up, Matt's dressed up, and Nynaeve are dressed up, and Min's dressed up a little bit too. They're going undercover trying to find Liandrin, leads toward the Black Aja, just doing their job as hounds for the Amyrlin seat. And they end up in this bar, and they're all spread out. Min goes with Nynaeve, tries to kind of get her to loosen up, gives her a couple shots. Nynaeve does start to loosen up a little bit, and she's like, oh, this is the most fun I've had in a minute. Finally breathing and everything. Min does her parlor trick, which is to say that she saw the future of somebody, kind of gave them a con job about it, saying that they would get married and everything. He's like, well, I just met her, and she's like one of the richest people in town. So he feels all happy when he walks off, and she's like, hey, this one's on me, but the rest, if you have anybody who wants to know the future, Send them to me. I'll be here. And he's like, oh, yup. Turns out the girl that she saw marrying him or whatever, that was a lie. She actually unalives him. And I was like, well, why would you say that instead of that? That's like somebody saying, hey, tomorrow you're going to have a bowl of honey-o's. And I'm like, hey, all right. And then tomorrow a shark comes into my apartment and eats all my shoes. I was like, that's not the same. That's not the same at all. Just, I don't know, it's a little cruel. I mean, I was like, that sucks. Anyway, though. Elaine almost has her cover blown because somebody kind of clocks that she's the daughter of Heir of Andor, and it's Pirate Town in my head. So that's not really a good place for the daughter of Heir of Andor to be, especially undercover, not wanting anybody to know she's there. So she keeps the accent on, she keeps it up. Who comes to her aid? No one but Tom Merlin. He's from season 1. He's that dude that sings decently with the guitar, and he keeps the fade away from Rand and Matt in season 1. This time Matt finds him because he hears him playing. He's the Gleeman, so he hears him playing, and he's like, hey, come have a drink with me. I stole your little money, now come on. And it's drinks are on me as long as I got your little bag of money. And he's like, alright, I'll tell you who blew the horn of Valyr. And then it's like, here we go with this. So he tells him everything pretty much, the Cliff Notes version. And Tom is like, look, I want nothing to do with you and your little redheaded friend, Dragon Reborn or not. I don't know, I don't care. Tom said, I don't care. Please leave me out of it. And he's like, well, no, we can actually use your help. He's like, no, I don't want to help. I'm looking for Liandrin. He said, Liandrin Girali. Stay away from that girl, boy. And then next thing you know, he does overhear. It's like, what is the daughter of Andor doing? He's like, I served in the Queen's courts for a little bit. That's why I know. He walks over. He kind of makes up the story about her being his Gleeman's assistant and taking ransom money that was meant for the Andor thing. So it's a bit that she does because she has the hair and she looks like her. And I don't know. It saves her because she goes up there and sings a song as the Gleeman's assistant, and it happens to be their anthem about chest areas. And just the wildest dance moves, man. I said, ma'am, what are you doing? I didn't understand until after the episode. I was like, oh, that's what that was about. Hills of... Okay. The point is, cover's not blown. At the end of the song, the third or fourth time they sing it, like, Nynaeve and Min come back because they ended up talking to the dude in the bar who had the details, had the dish, had the dirt on where Liandrin might be. And how, like, she kind of ramsacked that child wedding that was happening. So they came back with that information and with information on, like, her whereabouts. They all meet up at that bar where Elaine is still singing. They're like, what is going on? She's like, oh, I was blending in, trust me. And randomly this dude walks up to Matt and he's like, hey, I saw off the picture you told me. It's not exactly the one, but it's one close, see? And it's a bracelet. And they are looking for that bracelet. They're looking for 2 bracelets, like I said, and a collar to basically put on a male channeler or put on the Dragon Reborn. That's the plan. That's what everybody's looking for. And he just walks up with it and gives it to Matt. I thought that was pretty random. But after having watched some content on YouTube and kind of getting a spoiler. So I don't look for spoilers. When they arrive, I kind of see, like, if I can handle it or not, if I want to try to compartmentalize, like, if I want to forget it or see where it goes, like, and I listen to a little bit. So basically, it's, let's just say it's part of Matt's charm. And I'll leave it at that, because I'm not going to spoil it for you if you don't know. So, cool. So, I don't know the full thing. Again, I only know 2 words. And one of them is Matt. And the other thing is, like, yeah. Anyway, so they get the bracelet, and then immediately Nynaeve takes it for safekeeping, because, yeah, who trusts Matt with it? Loki. She puts it in her bag, and then her and Elaine end up going back to their little hotel room or whatever they got going on. Little inn room with open entrances just all over the place. But You're like, yeah, okay, and tomorrow morning we'll go to the palace and get the third one. We're looking good. We're out here. We know who and where they are. We have the bracelets. We're feeling good about ourselves. So they're taking the little disguises off. They sat down on the bed, just getting ready to knock out after a successful day of espionage and hounding. And someone comes in. They kind of knock at the door. And she's like, oh, no, we're good. We don't need anything. I appreciate it. They'll have a good night. Peace. You know what I'm saying? Thinking it was housekeeping or something, but it turns out to be Moghedian. And she's like, you may not need something, but I do. And she does, just super quickly, a weave of compulsion. You don't see the weave, so I don't know. Maybe it's just her being. I don't know how they do their weaves and stuff like that, but we see. Oh, actually, we do see the weaves. We do. Don't get me to lying. I'm sorry. We see some quick weaves. And immediately, compulsion scene. This scene drives me crazy. Or drove me crazy, I should say. Drives and drove. If I watch it again, it drives. They tell her everything. I was like, girls. I get it, though. Like, apparently it was in the books, too. Nynaeve, she says, like, Moghedian, again, like the pirate chicks, like everybody, they clock that she blocked herself. She's like, you've blocked yourself from the power. And Nynaeve is like smiling and nodding, and that's basically what they do. They're just like very oddly smiling and nodding and acting like they know this lady. And she's like, yeah, I have so much power. I think I'm afraid of it. And then she gives her a hug. She's like, oh. So she hugs her, puts some creepy black fingers on her back. Oh, man. Just the image of a spider. Like, I threw myself off. If I think about it too much, I'm going to have to get up and shake. But just like, she embraces her in a fake little embrace. And she's like, in my time, we would have beaten that out of you. I was like, girl, what time was that? You know, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, goodness, dark. She has them sit down on the couch and tell her everything. She's like, oh, yeah, we're here trying to track down people who were hounds for the Amarylline seat. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. She's like, we're not Aes Sedai either. We're just accepting. She's like, oh, cool. And she starts naming the people they're after. And she's like, I know their names. And she gets like, that's what you can tell, like, she's not really vibing with them or anything like that. I don't know. She gives me the vibes of a person who tried to be, at one point, in with the in crowd at school, but they kept making fun of her, or maybe she just would mix things into her food, and then people would dare her to drink or eat whatever concoction she made at lunch, and that was the only way she can get attention. But the people never really liked her. They just used her as entertainment. Kind of a Carrie situation. Just an underdog who chose to be weird for affection. And then now she has these people under compulsion, and there's this hatred for it. It's almost like, I don't know if I'm clocking this right, but it's like there's this resentment, like, I don't like people like you. Snap. She's like, I don't need their names. Enough. It's like, get out of my face right now. And so she goes back to faking being nice to them, and she's like, what else have you found out? And then they kind of giggle and look at each other, and they're like, we have the bracelet, or yeah, basically, and we need another one in case the dragon reborn. And tomorrow we're gonna do this. Oh my gosh! And he's like, we can't let them put Cage on Rand. I was like, don't say his name. And then she was like, do you know where the dragon is? I'm like, no, but we would tell you if we did. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. She's like, oh, well, go get it, girls. And Nynaeve goes off to go get it out of her bag, grabs it, and then she goes to take it from her. And then that's when Nynaeve finally fights a little bit. And she's smiling, looking Moghedian in the eye. Moghedian's looking at her, and she's like, kind of tugging at the collar. She's like, you're fighting me. And then they kind of struggle for a little bit. Elaine's just looking and smiling. She's not fighting none. I said, golly. And then she finally wrenches it away from her, and she's like, congratulations, you did what the Black Asha could not. So, girls, what can I do with you? Raven wants you dead. Basically, Raven wants you unalived. And she's talking to Elaine, and she's like, and 2 of my gray men have already failed. But I don't like it when Raven gets what he wants, so it's fine. Or she's like, rather, I like it when he doesn't get what he wants, so I'll keep you here. maybe I could visit again. And I'm like, please do, yes. And she says, and you, and she turns to look at Nynaeve, and she's like, basically she's into her resistance, her power. She's become amusing to her and maybe useful or something. She has an affinity to her now. Maybe affinity is a little strong, but she's like, maybe I come back and talk to you guys again or visit you guys again. And then she's like, they're like desperately nodding yes, like they know her like that, like two puppies getting treats. And she's like, and you'll let me do whatever I want? Obey my every command? And then Nynaeve is like, I'm sorry, you can't see me, but she's like, she got widened eyes, kind of perked upward, a little bit perked upward in the middle eyebrows, and docile looking, basically, with a smile. And she nods. And then she's like, good girl. And then she scratches her cheek with blood. Not super, super deep, but just a scratch, like a signature, like a marking, kind of like something, like an animal marks its territory. Or like enough with the spider, but a spider like playing with its meal, basically. And they do that too, very sadistic. But anyway, I'm sorry for all the spider slander. I'm sorry. After that point, she's like, well, you won't remember any of this, just that I came knocking on the wrong door. And then she walks out. And then as soon as she leaves, they kind of start being like, wait, what happened a second ago? Weren't we just talking? What are we doing here? I'm woozy, I'm dizzy. And she's like, Nynaeve, your cheek. And she's like, something is wrong. And they can't find the bracelet thing either. So I was like, And I think this is the one where she was spitting in the food. She was spitting in the tea, Moghedian, spitting in the tea, biting into and snagging into every food, and like kind of like a baby at his birthday party, his first birthday party, putting his hand all in the cake, chewing it up and spitting it back out, and just cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a menace. She's just gross. She's gross, but it's a harrowing scene for real. Let's go back and end this thing. So I did want to mention that Perrin and Faielle showed up. He enters the White Cloak camp toward the end of the episode, talking about sorry, we went into some Trollocs. He has on the White Cloak stuff on, and they have been waiting for reinforcements anyway to kind of, help with whatever and take the town or whatever. I don't know why they needed reinforcements, but they did. And Perrin and Faille's among them. They don't know, or we assume they don't know that he's a dark friend, but this does not look good for Perrin, Alana, Maxim, Chad, Loial, and Bane. This does not look good for them. Back to the Aiel Waste. After Rand's conversation with Moiraine, and he kind of touched the power a little bit, and just realizing that he's always trying to fight the power. Anyway, he and Egwene, who was trying and failing earlier to keep Lanfear out of her dreams, they end up finally talking about just what she saw last episode, which was the dreamwalking episode, which was when she walked into everybody's dream. It was cool, and then she walked into his being Rand's, and saw her tormentor kissing him. So she starts it out with she's a forsaken Rand, basically. She, like I said, she'd been training earlier in the day, trying to get Lanfear out of her dreams. Lanfear talking about something. She put her on the wheel. She talking about something. Did you like seeing me and your mans together and whatnot? Did you enjoy that? Was that for you? I'm like, sis, what are you into? No, I'm sorry. This is not the time. I'm sorry. She's just like, I don't know. And she's like, if Rand knew what you were doing, and she said he knows everything, kind of implying that this whole time he's like greenlighting the torment of Egwene. So she, in some part toward the end of their argument, and I'll get to that, mentions, hey, did you know this? That she's been the one tormenting me this whole time in my dreams. And I thought it was a soul dom, but no, it's been your Lanfear all along. So basically, they start out their fight just basically saying that you have been gone with the wise ones this whole time. I don't know. Like, where you been? You always do this. You basically dumped me back into Two Rivers when you wanted to be a wisdom. And, you always choose something else over me. Right now, even now, I am the dragon reborn. Like, I am basically the second coming. And I'm still not enough for you. And I said, goodness, what a wonderful kind of day. And I'm like, man, dude, he's kind of right. He got me with that. I mean, yeah, I was completely distracted. I was like, yeah, she sure did. And he's like, I'll always respect you for that. So they kind of amicably break up, and she lets him stroke her face for a second, and then she's like, did you know? And he's like, no, what? And then she's like, don't lie to me. Did you know? And he's like, Egwene, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, because you didn't even say nothing. And then she said, I thought it was a soul dom this whole time, but it was your Lanfear. She's been tormenting me in my dreams, hurting me. And he's seeing the bruises and all that. And he's like, get mad, quiet. The realization comes in his eyes. Great acting. And he's like, I didn't know. And then, boom! Samael comes in with some, I thought it was Shido too, but I don't know, evil Shidos. And they're like doing their war cry. I'm like, this is not a good time to do your little war cry on account of like, we didn't know that you were evil and now you're just announcing it. I don't know. This very distinctive war cry. Okay, it's you. So y'all gonna have problems next episode. Problems with me. No problems with me. Boom! Hammers. I call them the hammer shaking in my notes. He has this like one power hammer and he just keeps smashing it. He comes around and tries to like basically take them both out. He kind of zaps at Egwene, and then Aviendha comes in with 2 flaming spears that she channels flames onto. I was like, let's go! She was like, oh, gee. She does get a stab through, but he kind of just looks at it in his chest. Next thing you know, there's another blast. She says, run. She runs. I guess she takes out the Shido. They get out, and then he kind of, boom, like, force throttles the hammer down, and the whole place comes down like on top of them almost, and they just barely narrowly make it out. He comes out too and aims his hammer right at Rand, just thinking like, easy, slight work, Wednesday for me. And whoosh, but last minute Rand is like, he's getting up slowly. He's at this point, I understand, whenever I act things out alone, whenever I was a kid or even in college or even now, I'm just acting out something, and I'm just all powerful. And I was like, that's it. He gets up slowly. He'd made a shield without even practicing. He don't practice. He's like one of the people that doesn't know how to play saxophone. He don't practice. He gets up. There's a huge shield, raging sun shield behind him. There's the dark weaves starting to come in with the fire weaves. He loves him some red and black. He comes up. He kind of scoops in his hand because he had some sand when he was getting up slowly. He lets the sand fall out of his hand, and as he's doing that, some one power goes through, and it's all the black power and stuff like that. We see the shield thing kind of go away, storms and clouds and stuff come by, and then we see lightning just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just not even looking, just bop, bop, bop. No look takes him out. Samael's out of here. Just zap, 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 zap. And then he stops. And then somebody mentions, oh, Alcera was in the upper room. And then he kind of snaps out of it for a second. He channels to move all the rock rubble out of the way. He sees Alcera and he's like, hey, Alcera, get up. Alcera, get up. He touches her, kind of moves her around, and she doesn't move. She's out of here. And he kind of cradles her. He starts crying and he's like, no, I'm the dragon reborn. I can do anything. He starts trying to heal her. He's like, breathe, Alcera. He starts to get a little crazy. They're like, Rand. Egwene's like, Rand, you can't heal death. Death is done. And they're like, they're not getting through to him. Moiraine finally comes around the corner and he's like, breathe, I can do anything. What does the prophecy say? That I am destruction, basically, but I'm also creation. Breathe, Alcera. And he's like, breathe, like evil witch doctor dude. And just tons of weaves are going into her. And it's all dark and stuff, just moving her body around. And I keep thinking, oh, snap, she's going to be zombie chick in a second. And it just doesn't look right. It's not working. It's like things are stabbing into her and it's just distorting her a little bit. Apparently it was more gruesome in the books. But yeah, it doesn't go as far as that because I guess he starts to give up because he stops screaming and stuff and he's just on his knees. The weaves are still coming out, but Moiraine is like Rand and puts a hand on his shoulder and he stops channeling and is just crying. And then she kind of gives a look to Lan and Lan is like, They never say anything. Obviously, they're talking in a bond, but it's like, what a finale. You made it to this part of the predictions. And thank you, and listen up, because here we go. A little better. Alright, I'm probably not going to cut this at all. I'm sorry if you hear the smashing of things. Maybe I'll cut a little bit. I don't have too many other predictions. I do have some things that I want to see, such as I want to see all the Forsaken together at least once, like every single one of them, not just a few. I want to see how many we're dealing with. For 2, I want to see which Forsaken is working with which Black Aja. I want to know who the last Black Aja is still left in the tower. I haven't forgotten about that. I want to see Liandrin I kind of do want to see her become a Forsaken. I don't think she's going to be a good person anymore. Like, I'm not delusional anymore, but she still does give me anti-hero vibes. But I don't know. I don't know why I want good things for her, but I do. Alana is still hanging on, so I'm happy about that. Avienda channeling was very cool. I'd love to see more of that. Somebody did mention that she was close enough to their argument to hear when she should come in to help save the day. So, I remember earlier I told you to recall Lanfear said she was sending a Forsaken. Well, she didn't say a Forsaken, but she was sending someone to the Addy, basically after Egwene. So how's that going to fall back on Moiraine when Rand finds out that she knew somebody was headed over that way that night? And is that why Moiraine was so slow to come around the corner even though she heard all the commotion? I was like, I even as a stan, I'm getting kind of sick of this. I'm getting kind of sick of this, sis. You need to stand up, get a backbone. You already know you're not going to be here for the last battle. You might as well put some work in. You know what I'm saying? I better see that in the last episode. I'm being harsh on her because I care. People you care about, you don't just let start slipping. Huh? Talk to them. I'm tired of you just laying over like a dead, I'm sorry. I was going to say like a dead carpet, but it didn't make any sense anyway, but now, YouTube doesn't like when you say certain things. Just rolling over for Lanfear all the time. Like, I understand she's powerful, but put some back into it. You know what I'm saying? Stop letting her just do whatever, because now, like, what are your morals at this point? I understand you're trying to protect the dragon at all costs, but at this point, you're not even going to be here. So, equipped the people who are going to be here with some not getting assassinated vibes, you know what I mean? So, this is the last time I want to see you kind of roll over for whatever Lanfear has to say, is what I'm saying. And this is, not much of a prediction, kind of going into the finale knowing that there is going to be a big battle and Lanfear is involved. Hopefully, Moraine's on the right side of it. I mean that. Let's go. And I am ready for episode 8, because like I said, episode 7 already recorded. I'm trying to drop these simultaneously, you know what I'm saying? I'm 10 minutes shy of the usual hours, so hey, I was right and I was wrong. That will do it for my predictions. If you have anything you want to say before this Thursday, when we know everything's going down, go ahead. I'll try to get this up as soon as possible. I'll read all the comments. I'll likely respond as well. But even if I don't respond, I probably read it a few times. It helped me out. It helped me with my notes and with my knowledge going forward. And I will see you guys, episode 7 and 8.